Good evening, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Pilot Review Show. I am Captain Blade J52, and I am joined this week by my merry cohorts. We have with us everyone's favorite teacher of the Kirby variety. Also joining us this week, fresh off of a recharge, we have everyone's favorite RP hologram, Artie. And then, finally, we have our resident Neela, fresh back from kicking the living snot out of a Grethor invasion.
Hey.
So, we've got some pretty interesting stuff to get through this week for you guys, so let's go ahead and dive right into everything. First and foremost, we have the Mirror Universe invading on the console. From February the 1st until February the 22nd, this will be going on. This is, play this once a day, you get a multi-dimensional transporter. You turn in 14 of these, you get the reward they're offering. In this case it is the Mirror Universe Dual Pistols. You'll also get 50,000 unrefined dilithium ore, 500 fleet marks, and 250 marks of your choice. And the weapons are available account-wide, so any other characters that you want to run on could still do this to get marks, or get a multi-dimensional transporter to get marks and a little bit of dilithium. So, pretty cool in that department. Any comments on our event,
personally,
guys?
I'm excited that the console's actually getting invaded again, because I think they just needed some excitement again, you know what I mean? So I'm happy that they're catching up with the current events that we've been having, so there we go.
Yeah, same here. The Mirror Invasion is always a fun one, so get in on all that rift closing fun!
At least you can skip all the cutscenes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that is a good thing, finally.
Who doesn't
Definitely
want
the
to
big
hear
thing
that?
we will say is be sure to close the rifts so you don't get overrun.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to hear? Oh,
Go ahead, Neil.
what's his name? Oh. Rift has been activated. Another wave is coming.
Obasek.
I don't really care about the name.
Yep.
Yeah.
And nothing against Obasek and whatnot, just after you've heard the same cutscene however many times that all of us combined have played it now, it's just kind of like, can I skip this, please? Can I get back to shooting things, please? But, anyways, definitely check that out, guys. Definitely run that. That'll get you a nice weapon for your account, which I need to get in there and do that myself.
Weapons are unlocked per account. If you wanted to get the marks and the dilithium, you have to do that on every tune you want those for. So.
Yep. But anyways, moving along, we have our console patch notes for the 30th.
Console patch notes. So they added some things to loadout. The player will now be able to see which loadout was saved or loaded last. And they reduced the loadout save load times to 5 seconds. They updated the contents of Infinity Lockbox to include items from the Sona Lockbox, and resolved an issue where fur materials looked darker than intended. Gotta fix that space, Barbie. Then under our systems, resolve stacking and description issues with Shield Overload Starship trait. Resolved an issue that caused the Equipment Diagnostics Kit module to get worse as its mark increased. That's not good. Resolved an issue that caused the duration of the Cold-Hearted Starship trait not to refresh if the player activated another relevant ability while it was still active. Resolved an issue that could allow multiple players to exceed 5 stacks of Cold-Hearted on a target. All experimental weapons are free to upgrade to Mark 12. All experimental weapons on ships and in reclaim stores are now obtained at Mark 10. They were previously obtained at Mark 12, and this resolves the issue where the player could commission ships with experimental weapon slots at level 40 and be unable to use an experimental weapon until level 45. Resolved an issue that prevented the console Universal Brain Energy Dissipator from being equipped on the Brain Plush Troll Heavy Raider, and resolved an issue that prevented the Stasis Beam 23rd Century and Photon Grenade 23rd Century kit modules from being available for use after upgrading them. Any questions, comments?
No, seems pretty straightforward.
Straightforward, yeah.
I do feel bad for the guys that've been wanting to play Beyond the Nexus. Apparently, it still crashes.
Yeah, I did see that. A crash is occasionally occurring during the episode Beyond the Nexus. It's a good episode, so that kind of sucks.
It was. It seems like mostly quality of life improvements, bug fixes, that sort of thing. But I know the experimental weapons, that was definitely an annoying thing. Especially if you're leveling up a tune. You get a ship, because I had that happen a few times on PC. I'd get a ship like, say I'd get my Defiant, or I'd get some other kind of ship, and then it's just like, yeah, we know you got this slot, but you can't use it yet till you hit this level, and it's just like, well, why the heck do I have it at this level? You know, that kind of stuff. But, we will have this in the notes for you guys. Encourage you folks to check that out in case you've been kind of curious as to what the changes are. But anyways, moving along, we have our flight deck cruiser bundle announced for
the
console.
Allied flight deck cruiser, which would be the Tellarites Problem flight deck cruiser tier 6, the Orion Blackguard flight deck cruiser, and for the Romulans you get the Suliban Silic flight deck assault cruiser. So for these ships you get the you get to have their mix of DPS as long as your carrier capability. And starting off, we got the Tellarite Problem flight deck cruiser for stats. Here you start at tier 6, factions for Starfleet. You can get it at Vice Admiral. Its hull strength is 46,575 at level 50, and 54,000 at level 60. So that's pretty good for health on right there. The shield modifier itself is just 1, and its weapons layout is a 5-3, 5 forward, 3 aft. It has 4 device slots, and this is why I like this, the bridge officer stations. You got the 1 lieutenant tactical, 1 lieutenant commander tactical command, 1 command engineering, 1 ensign science, and then 1 lieutenant commander universal. So you got a little bit of versatility there with that universal slot. For its console modification, you get 3 tactical, 5 engineering, 2 science, the base turn rate of 9, impulse modifier of 0.17, inertia of 40, and then you got its plus 5 to all subsystem power, and even cooler, the hangars are preloaded with the Tellarite adamant fighters. Its console is the universal IFF manipulator, which I believe is explained further down. We'll get to that. Then it has a normal flight deck cruiser for the Starship Mastery package. And, what did he say? Somewhere up here. The Starship trait is majority-minority. I think we'll get to that further down as well. There's also the fleet version, but I'll go ahead and just skip down to the Orion vessel, because the fleet vessels are just a little bit upgraded by 1 point here and another point there. That's about it.
Yeah, I think they're mostly the same, actually.
Yeah, the only thing different is the hull. It gets another point in shield. Its console modification.
Another tactical.
Yeah, that's about it. Yep. For the Orion Blackguard flight deck assault cruiser, it's actually mostly the same. Yeah. Oh, that's actually a little bit simpler. It's a whole lot easier. Yeah.
I think they all are, pretty much.
Alright, so I'll just skip down to the items and abilities. Alright, so the IFF Manipulator console provides a passive boost to critical severity with directed energy weapons and engineering readiness. So you have a little bit of a extra power going out in there, as well as, you know, the engineering readiness helping out with your heals. For the Starship trait itself, it majority equals to the increased damage resistance, shield hardness, and hull regeneration. And, well, actually, let me explain that. After achieving level 5 in your flight deck assault cruiser, you will unlock the minority Starship trait. While this trait is active, the number of allies and foes within 10 kilometers of you will be counted, depending on whether you are in the minority, foes outnumber allies, or the majority, allies equal or outnumbers foes. You will gain different combat benefits. So there, if you're in the majority, increased damage resistance, shield hardness, and hull regeneration. And for the minority, increase damage output and flight speed. There you go. Also, both allies and foes count all hangar pets, fleet support, and other similar summons, not mines or torpedoes, which makes sense a little bit. Getting down to the different fighters that you get. For the Tellarite, you get the Adamant fighters, which have the phaser energy weapons and quantum torpedoes. There's a close-up picture there. The Orion cut purse fighters, which are disruptors and photon torpedoes. And for the Suliban ship, you got the Suliban Veil fighters, which are the plasma energy weapons with plasma torpedoes. They come along with Reflective Hull 1, which is a plus 20 energy damage resistance, and reflects 20% of incoming energy weapon damage, and would last 5,000 energy damage has been reflected, or a 10-second cooldown. 10-second cooldown after depleted. So there you go. The advanced fighters are just a little bit bonus to that. You got the 4 beam array, the 4 torpedo, an aft pulse cannon, the reflective hull 2, which is change it from 20 to 35, and then you got the elite fighters that you get from the Fleet Starbase comm array tier 5, which just gives you the reflective hull 3, which turns it from 35 to 50. And there you go. A mouthful, but that's basically it. Questions?
Seems pretty straightforward to me.
Yeah, I got confused. I was looking down all the lists. I was like, wait, are these the same ships? So.
If you're somebody that appreciates a flight deck cruiser, or enjoys a ship that is capable of using carrier pets, then you'll definitely appreciate these ships.
Oh, yeah.
But, anyways, highly encourage you console players to check that out. Everything. We will have a link to the blog for you guys, so you can check it out and decide if the ships are right for you. But, moving along, we have an exclusive interview with Star Trek Online's Weston Pierce.
Yep, with this interview, this is one of the newer guys that joined Stowe's team. He is the one that is responsible for getting the Discovery ship, the unique emote you get from the Star Trek Loot Crate Mission Crate, and the emotes from this anniversary, which I have to give him props on the wink. Actually, getting that wink down to where it will actually work. That's some amazing stuff right there.
It's very sassy.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying, Carlton.
Fair enough, Carlton too.
Just saying.
If you want to go ahead and read what he has to say with the interview with Loot Crate, we will give you the link. I don't want to say too much. in case you guys want to read it.
Yeah, I have to agree. It was a really good interview from what I read. So
Yeah.
I would recommend anyone that's just sitting around wanting to get a little bit of the behind the scenes. It's a good spot.
Yep, but anyways, we'll have this in the notes for you guys so you can check that out and everything. But moving along, we have a Dilithium weekend for the PC players. This is going to be running, actually started on Thursday, February the 1st. Will be running until February the 5th. During the event, bonus Dilithium ore will be provided for the following content: the Vlogta asteroid field. This includes all rich dilithium claim bonuses, as well as bonus dilithium ore for daily mining missions. You get 100% bonus fleet dilithium ore from your fleet mine, 50% additional ore elsewhere in game. The event reputation projects no longer get the bonus. Have it for some years now. So it also says, note, the Dilithium weekend does not affect rewards from the Endeavor system. So this is definitely a good time to go out, farm out some dilithium, get some ore stocked back. That way you can refine it. It's been actually been a decent long time since we had a Dil weekend.
But if you have those rich dilithium claims, now's the time to go turn them in.
Also, I think I have an idea of why they're giving a good dilithium bonus weekend, which we'll get to that in a bit.
I have some ideas also, but yeah, definitely go out there, get that dilithium. I know one place that I like to go to is actually the Dyson Ground Battle Zone. In about 20 minutes, usually per character, if that much, and whatnot, you can actually cap out your dilithium for the day on a single character and everything. And that's assuming the standard rates even. It's actually a lot quicker in the dilithium weekends. As long as you have, or as long as you're able to get at least 2 of the dino tags, then you're going to get near the maximum reward, which is actually probably going to cap you out during the weekend if you get 2 dino tags. And by this I mean the giant V-Rexes that spawn once you flip the zone. But I also highly recommend taking a TR down there. Reason being is it counts it as 1% being dealt to the V-Rex itself before you're given credit. So you have to deal 1% of its health to it in order to be given credit for the tag, and the TR will bypass the shield.
Yes.
And allow you to deal, extreme range. Also lets you knock down Voth medics without having to bust through that shield.
Really important to kill when you're in the dino zone.
I swear they revive themselves after being disintegrated. What the hell?
Only until one dinosaur has fallen. Once one dinosaur has fallen, you're safe. The medics won't come back. But but I've seen it a whole bunch of times where there'll be a lot of people killing the dino, and the medics are just standing there, and nobody's killing the medics as the omega particles are getting stolen, and they've almost stolen them all, and they're about to lose the point because everybody's focusing on the dino. The moral to this is kill the medics. Yeah.
Exactly. Can't, like Kirby's saying, I can't tell you how many times I've seen that myself. And then some of them want to complain about, why'd we lose the points? Like, did you kill the medics? Well, no. It's like, well,
most people just don't even notice them, they're there.
But
yeah, exactly. On a tangent.
Before we continue off on a side tangent,
we digress.
Rant, like we're already starting to do. But yeah, definitely check this out. Definitely get your dilithium. Farm that out for that reputation set. Farm that out for some Zen. Whatever it is you're looking to do, now is the time to do it. But moving along, we have PC patch notes for the first.
Actually pretty short. So we have resolved an issue that was causing crashes while initially patching to a new update. Fleet Colony. We now get a Tier 5. Attaining Tier 5 in the main colony track now grants all members of a fleet access to the Lucari Dranor scout ship, Tier 6. All of the emote unlocks received from the 8th anniversary emote box are now account-wide unlocks. Of Bajor mission, the submission system security, they addressed an issue that could cause a block in progression while attempting this step in a team, which is my favorite way to play of Bajor because that is so long. Added the Type 8 and Type 8B material options to the Crossfield and Walker class ships. Under re-engineering, they resolved an issue that prevented some of the modifiers on the auxiliary cannons from being re-rolled, and the wide-angle quantum torpedo launcher can now interact with re-engineering. We resolved an issue where the ISS Stati Admiralty ship, the Krenum Chronoton torpedo, and the Universal Ominous Device console were not available in the Reclaim store for players. The Sonar and Discovery kit modules are now bind to account on Equip. This does not affect existing versions of items. So if you've already got it, and it's already bound to character and Equip, too late. You have to get a new one if you want it bound to account. Change display names for the Lobby Store non-combat arthropod companion to correctly state it's a ground companion. And then there's the known issue, the Force Verify button is not functioning in the launcher.
And because
Yep.
it's not a show without it, Blade, there's a bug.
Blade, they broke it.
Oh, good God. Yes, I know.
Yes.
On top of the colony thing, once your colony is tier 3 and you finish that cooldown, there's a cosmetic project to proto-matter the moon and bring life back to the moon.
That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, if you remember from that mission where they attempt to do it and get waylaid, we can now do it.
Cool. The other thing with the re-engineering, a lot of us have noticed the on certain weapons it says proc. Has a spot that says proc where a normal proc would be, and this is actually a placeholder on weapons that don't have the normal amount of procs, so that they'll be able to interact with the re-engineering system. So don't freak out.
But, anyways, moving along, we have our Lucari scout ship.
Yes,
from
this is what I was talking about with the Dill stuff. At the beginning of the next holodeck patch, the fleet that progresses their Dranor colony main track to Tier 5, or are already there, will unlock the ability to purchase the Lucari Dranor scout ship Tier 6. It kind of looks like a boomerang, so you might have seen it at the balloon with the current party popper. But once you get this part of the colony unlocked, you have to go to the ship vendor, have 20,000 fleet credits, five fleet ship modules, one of the Starship military fleet ship provisionings, and your fleet must have at least the Tier 1 fleet shipyard at your starbase completed. So, let's get into the stats. Also, please note the below stats are correct, but are not reflected in game, so this may be fixed in the future update. Alright, so we have it, rank required is, Vice Admiral or Lieutenant General, level 50, that sort of thing. The hull strength is 0.99, which is pretty funny. At level 40, you get it's 29,700 health. At level 50, you get 34,155, and at level 60, you get 39,600. Or actually, that's a mistyped there.
There's an extra
little extra zero there.
There's an extra zero.
Oh well, just cut that last zero.
That's a bug. Fix
Chris!
Oh, don't worry. I'll probably be dropping him a line after
moving
the
on.
show.
The shield modifier is 1.21, so that's really good for this style of vessel. The weapons are a 3-3 layout, 2 device slots, and bridge officer stations are 1 commander science, 1 ensign universal, 1 lieutenant universal, 1 lieutenant commander universal, and 1 lieutenant commander universal temporal operative. So this is basically similar to like your bird of praise.
It's the closest thing you're gonna get to a bird of prey is the T6.
Oh yeah, besides the Klingon bird of praise. But
I don't count those because they fucked them.
Okay.
And there's a little bit of rage from Neela, folks.
Just a little bit. I'm a
Get an
It's a bingo
episode without
card.
it.
Alright, the console modifications is a 4 tactical, 2 engineering, 5 science, so a heavy science ship already. The base turn rate is 18 degrees per second. Impulse modifier is a 0.2 with inertia at 80. So it's pretty fast. Or at least gets to be fast real early on. And it has the plus 10 to weapon power, plus 10 to auxiliary power. Has raider flanking. And for some people that may not know what raider flanking is, you got plus 25% damage to NPC when attacking at the rear arc, and then plus 8.25% when damaging a player when you're at the player's rear arc. You get subsystem targeting.
For PvP.
Yeah, for PvP or the competitive stuff. So yeah, you get subsystem targeting like any science ship. Same with the sensor analysis and a secondary deflector slot. And it can equip dual cannons. And for the console, you got the Universal Reverberant Quantum Lock, which I'll get to that in a moment. And it has the Starship Mastery Package Scout Ship, which gives you plus weapon accuracy, plus exotic damage, the plus weapon crit severity, and plus healing and shield. Plus the Starship trait Proto Spill, which we'll get to that in a moment. And for those that are wondering about the Admiralty ship stats, you got Engineering 21, Science 55, Tactical 50, and it's special with a plus 8 to Science per TAC ship or Engineering ship. So it's a pretty good Admiralty ship. Alright.
Our Admiralty stats.
Alright, moving on to the console. I'm just going to read off from what it said at the top. This protomatter-based technology was originally developed by the Lucari for medical purposes, but turned to military applications by the ingenious Kintari scientists. So this is going to be kind of an interesting, volatile, but still helpful thing. Actually, where's the numbers to this? Oh, it's right here at the bottom. Neither of these trigger effects can trigger the other. Oh, okay. Where's the actual numbers of this?
Yeah, I don't see
Don't
it.
know that there was.
That's odd. I thought it had what if. Alright. Yeah, going back to the
Anyway,
paragraph then. Alright. The short-lived quantum lock allows manipulation of distant matter by applying energies to the linked matter which is kept on board the source ship. Volatile in nature, this technology has limited lifespan under which the effects can be manipulated. While in effect, the linked foe will be continuously drawn towards the source, and any damage dealt to the linked ship will repair the source starship, while any hull restoration applied to the source ship is instantly transmitted to the target foe as radiation damage. So neither of these triggered effects can trigger the other. There is a trigger limit of 10 times per second, and there is a minimum effect magnitude of 500 per trigger. This console provides a passive boost to hull capacity and power transfer rate, and this console may be equipped on any console slot on any starship. You may only have one of these consoles equipped at a time, obviously. Moving to the starship trait, when achieving level 5 of the Lucari Draenor Scout Ship Tier 6, you'll get Protomatter Spell. While slotted, activating any hull healing or shield healing bridge officer ability will cause radiation AoE, centered on the healed ally or yourself. Radiation damage to up to 5 nearest foes within 3 kilometers of the healed target or self. And it's max only once per every 6 seconds, not 60, my bad. And for those space barbers out there, customization, once purchased, the ship's visuals may be put both on the Hokun science vessel and the Nakam scout ship. So there you go, you can mix and match the ship hull itself, not little bits and pieces, but the whole hull itself. Also, double note the above stats are subject to change and tuning later on. And I'm excited because that raider flanking, I don't get to fly much of that anymore. And it's a science ship, so I'm going to be excited now. I'm going to actually have a science ship that does raider flanking.
I can do evil things with this and make it into a pretty nasty tank. You remember what happened the last time I got a hold of
I'm expecting you to make it unkillable again.
Evil.
Done.
Evil people.
Oh, and this time, Kirby, I have temp ops. That should scare you.
Yes.
As well as, a full commander science bridge officer station, so you have, all those abilities there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And this scares me.
I think she's already just a little scared. But anyways, definitely check this out, guys. I highly encourage you folks to be planning ahead, especially if you're somebody that enjoys science. You will definitely enjoy this ship, I believe. Now keep in mind, because it is a fleet ship, it is for a single character unlock only. So that means if you want to get this ship on another character, you will need to acquire the fleet ship modules again. That also means that if you discharge the ship, you will need to acquire the modules again in order to reclaim the ship.
Also, I'm pretty sure I can hear people out in the distance going, but what if there's a fleet version? Well, we're not sure about that yet.
It already is a fleet version.
Exactly. So there you go.
But to be honest, I'm actually kind of glad they're doing ships like this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It is very versatile, and.
I meant like actually put them in the holding instead of in a sea store.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first ship that has a console and ship trade out of a fleet holding, so they could be setting a precedent.
Not what I meant, but okay.
Point being, anyways, ladies, moving on. We have the 20% services sale on PC.
Really not much anything to this, and just a quick little sale from the 1st, which was Thursday, to this Monday the 5th at 10 a.m. PT. On character slots, account shared bank slots, bridge officers, captain rename, captain retrain, character slots, duty officer roster slots, D100 limit of 4, and duty officer roster slots 25, inventory slots, outfit slots, ship loadout slots, ship slots, dry dock slots, energy credit cap increase, which if you don't have the lifetime or monthly sub, get the energy credit cap. But all I have to say is I had to get more outfit slots on both platforms.
Space Barbie.
Because the 500 I have on PC is not
Space
enough.
Barbie, the true end game.
Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Oh, yeah.
Okay. No.
No one's gonna say
Kirby.
anything about the
Bad
500
Kirby.
alpha slots.
No, because that's normal. That's the right amount.
I mean, that pretty much says all we need to
think
know
I
is that you have
kinda
too much free time
did
on your
with the
hands.
song reference.
No, you really didn't.
The Space Barbie is strong with this one.
Yes,
Space
yes
Barbie
it
is
is.
the
I mean,
true
did you see the
endgame
prices
of
for
the
those vanity shields? Now I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
go fight a guy for some more.
Yeah. But definitely, as far as this sale goes, highly going to recommend picking up the energy credit cap increase if you don't already have that. That's going to increase your maximum energy credits that you can hold from 15 million to 2 billion on a single character. So, very much well worth it. And then, I would also advise picking up one row of account bank slots. That way you can move reputation
Yes.
sponsorships
It'll
through
also
your
let you
account bank,
trade
things like
EC
that.
between characters, and yeah, and move the reputation sponsorship tokens, as well as other items. So yeah, definitely worth it for the account shared bank slots.
But, anyways, that's going to be going until Monday. If there's something you've been after, now's a good time to do that. But, moving along, we have our Scylla and Charybdis Week 2 reward. And,
Yep.
I believe this one is me. So, this time around, we have, I believe it is the Deflector, I think it
I
is,
thought
we
it
got
was
this
the
week?
shield. No, we got the shield, then... Okay, then I think it's the
The shield
deflector, yeah.
was last week. Yep, Deflector array. So it is the Deflector that we get this week. The 2-set bonus, everything is an increase to Phaser, Disruptor, and Plasma damage. There is the 3-set bonus, which is the AoE Siphoning Field. This increases the range from 2.5 kilometers to 5. So, pretty decent. But I actually have the
It's a really
Deflector
good
for anybody
deflector, I
that's
have to say.
curious. Starts out with Control X, Drain X, and Shield Cap. It's 8.8 shield capacity, 35 Control X, and 35 Drain Expertise. So definitely has some interesting stuff. And then the Weapon Capacitor Dampening. Control abilities reduce foe outgoing damage by 9.1%. So whenever they are affected by control powers, that is. And a control power could be something like a gravity well. It could be something like a jam sensors, any type of control power. And I think, does this actually show? It actually does show the 4-piece on this. Okay. So yeah. Energy Siphon now additionally reduces foe turn rate by 33% and lowers resistance by 15% while providing you those bonuses. So, can be fairly nasty depending on how you set this up. And then you can see we've got the phaser damage, the disruptor damage, the plasma damage increases. So,
Yeah,
pretty
I
interesting
mean
little set.
the power drain is actually pretty good. It gives about what, plus 12 when you've got a decent amount of drain expertise, and so that's actually pretty good. The siphoning
I
field.
think so, yeah.
So having that extended, that's going to be a bit better. But the 2-piece, first of all, it's to phaser, disruptor, and plasma damage. So you've got a bunch of options when using that, but it is a pretty good bonus to damage, and DPS leagues are looking at this one. Let me tell you. So it's actually a good thing to do. I know quite a few people who switched out switched off of what they were using to go with the two-piece of the Bajoran set.
But anyways, that's week 2 rewards, everything. Next week we'll get our hands on another piece of the set, which our final piece of the set, I believe, will be the engines. So, yeah, definitely check that out, guys. But that's all the articles we have for this week. Coming up now, we have our budget build for the evening. And in this instance, we have probably one of the more evil builds we've put together. One of the nastier ones, anyway. And this is the Morrigu Heavy Warbird. This is the Tier 6 version
Arbiter.
of the Romulan Tier 6 version of the Arbiter. Or the Avenger, if you had that old T5 version of the ship. But we based it in Disruptor this time around. We have, on the forward part of the ship, we have 2 of the Disruptor Plasma Beams. These are the hybrids that you can get. I believe it is from, let's see, what mission was that?
Yeah, Smash and Grab.
I think it was Smash and Grab for Romulans, if I'm not mistaken. And this is the hybrid beam. It carries a Disruptor and a Plasma proc, but it's based in Disruptor damage. Then you also have, on the forward part of the ship, you have a Nausicaan Disruptor beam. Then you also have the Resonant Disruptor beam. These are pretty good weapons. Then on the aft portion of the ship, there is actually the Martok Omni here. For some reason, it's not got a picture in the builder. God only knows why. But we also have a crafted Disruptor Omni on the back. And we also have our Nausicaan Energy Torpedo. And that's what we have as far as weapons go. For our shields, our engines, deflector, and warp core, because this ship is going to be throwing around a lot of haste, a lot of damage effects, because of how many set bonuses are being used here, you're probably going to be drawing a good amount of threat. Because of that, we wanted to start with something a bit tankier. In this case, we went with the Soul Defense set. This comes from the Midnight Mission. And the Soul Defense set, just by having 2 pieces of it equipped, you get the free equivalent of a Neutronium armor, just by having 2 of the items on the ship. And that's without actually having to slot a Neutronium. Then the 3 set bonus is an AoE heal that is pretty massive. It'll heal you and anybody within, I think it's 5 kilometers is the range. And it's pretty potent. I have seen this heal some ships from near death all the way back to 80%, if not outright full, depending on what ship that it is. For our warp core and everything, this is, at the moment, pretty much a staple warp core for us, because it is, in my opinion at least, the best one you could get on the free version at the moment, and everything, and that is the Temporal Phase Overcharged core, and I apparently slotted the actual warp core and not the Singularity version, but I'll correct that in a minute. But rest assured, there is a Singularity version. That's pretty much force of habit as to why I put the standard
that
warp
would be
core.
funny. Aw.
Yeah, I'm not that stupid. But there is a Singularity version you could pick up, as a matter of fact. Let me go ahead and fix that. And we'll clear that out. But basically the reason as to why we have this particular one, phase charged, is actually for the capacitor that it gives. And if you were here for the Delta recruitment event a few years back, you are familiar with a little device known as the Temporal Negotiator. And that device would cut your bridge officer cooldowns in half while it was active. This basically gives you the same thing, except in the form of a warp core capacitor. So there's that, and that's kind of hard to beat on the free end, I think, and whatnot. So that's the main reason you see this warp core quite a bit in a lot of our budget builds and everything. But anyways, moving on to our devices. We have our subspace field modulator. This gives 25, wasn't it 25 or was it 40 for this one? Okay, 34 all damage resist across the board while it is active. And it also debuffs you for a minus 400 protonic damage resist. So there are some enemies in the game still that use protonic damage resistance, so it is something worth making a note of. You're probably not going to run into too many enemies that do use it because of that reason, but like we say, it's something to be aware of. And it also gives a little bit of defensive value as well. I don't remember the exact... What's the exact stat off the top of our heads?
15.
Or do you have that handy? So 15 defensive. So yeah, very potent little device you can pick up from the skirmish mission. Although we usually like to think of devices as personal preference, this is one that pretty much all of us universally will recommend to people. For engineering consoles, we have 3 on this particular version of the ship. Whenever you pick up a fleet version of the Morrigu, you will get a 4th engineering console. In this instance, we went with the Trillium deplating from the Ragnarok mission. This is basically a neutronium armor and a field generator console from Science slammed into one. You'll get a pretty hefty chunk of damage resistance. I believe it's 18 damage resistance at Mark 12, if I'm not mistaken, across the board. Then you get a pretty hefty chunk of shield capacity. Then for our next engineering console, we have the assimilated module.
It's 13.3 all damage resistance rating.
Go ahead.
Plus 20 starship capacity, and plus 13.3% maximum shield capacity. And it adds 7.5% of your auxiliary power to your shield power as bonus.
So
yeah.
Pretty hefty little console there, just by completing a mission. Then for our assimilated module, we have this mainly for the critical chance and severity that it gives. It comes from the Omega reputation. And then I believe this one was the control expertise. Didn't give a little bit of that too? And then we also have, for our last console, we have the Martok defensive configuration. And this is basically, in a nutshell, an RCS slammed together with a field generator console. It gives a bit of turn, a bit of shield capacity, as well as some other nice stats. And it also completes our 2-piece Martok, which I believe that gave, I forget why we had that one, but it's been a day, folks, that's all I can really say. But anyways, as far as our science consoles go, we have our Nausicaan siphon capacitor. Now this is going to complete our 3-piece Nausicaan and everything. And we'll go ahead and actually pull that up for you guys, since I've got that on the Keldon. Now this is Mark 14 Ultra Rare, so it is going to throw off the stats a little bit compared to what you guys are going to see. But it has a bit of drain expertise, 31.7 power transfer for me, and then it has some extra disruptor damage. So by having this on the ship, you're essentially picking up an extra disruptor tactical console, as well as completing your 3-piece. And speaking of 2 pieces and 3 pieces, everything, we'll take a quick look at these. And there's reasons why we wanted to go with the 3-piece Nausicaan in this case. Now, you also get the Disruptor Net, which is basically a short-term disable that does disruptor damage to the enemy. And your 3-piece is also 26.6% disruptor damage, so you get additional disruptor boost just by having this slotted. Then you also get plus 50 starship hull penetration, which is a pretty hefty bonus by having 3 pieces on the ship. But that's what you get here in this case. Now, we had discussed a little bit before we actually decided on the Nausicaan if we wanted to stick with 3-piece Nausicaan or if we wanted to go with the resonant 3-piece and everything due to the haste effect that you can get. We decided in this case to go with Nausicaan because we felt we would get more out of it. It's a constant buff versus something that you would have to
Yes.
reapply constantly. Versus the
Right, now,
other one.
if you find you do have room, you could do both. Or you could choose the Resonant 3-piece over the Nausicaan 3-piece. Or you could try one and decide which one gives you the better result.
Yep. But the way the ship is now, you've got the ability to... It just depends on which torpedo you slot. If you slot the Martok torpedo, if you slot the Nausicaan torpedo,
Right.
or if you slot the Resonant torpedo, will depend on which 3-set bonus you get. But personally, we felt we would get more out of the Nausicaan. Again, that's just our personal opinion. Feel free to experiment and decide which one you like best. But anyways, moving along, we have our ablative hazard shielding. This comes with the ship itself, and I actually have stats on this for you guys. You can see here it absorbs, well, it actually gives you 5% shield resistance, improves shield regeneration rate by 10%. Then it also gives a shield of 17,000, may as well just round it off and say 18,000 points of damage for 45 seconds. Whenever it expires, you get plus 5,000 hit points and shield regeneration applied, and 2,000 shield regeneration applied once to each facing, and that's only a 2-minute recharge. So a nice little "oh crap, I'm about to die" button. But yeah, so that's our science consoles. Moving along to tactical, we have our harmonic resonance relay. This also completes our 2-set of the resonant. We'll go ahead and show some stats. This is what it'll look like at Epic, keep in mind. So it's 25% disruptor damage, you get some transphasic projectile weapon damage, and you also get plus 5 armor pen for weapons. So that's at Epic, of course, but for those that are curious, you can see with the 2-set that you're going to have on the ship, you're going to get 3.6 weapon power. You're also going to get the Resonance Disruption Wave, which will increase energy damage dealt to shields by 15%. So you're going to deal more damage to their shields, and you're going to be bypassing a bit more of their armor, combined with the Nausicaan 3-piece. So there's going to be a lot of armor bypass on this ship. Then finally, you have 4 of the Disruptor Induction Coils. These are the standard tactical consoles that boost Disruptor specifically, which means you're going to get up close and friendly with the Echoes of Light mission until the point you probably hate it. But I know it's... you guys will see in the notes just how much of this actually does come from that mission and everything. I think there's like 7 pieces total from that mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nausicaan and the tactical consoles. So yeah, you're going to be running that mission quite a bit, but it's going to be worth it in the end. That much we can promise. Moving along to our skills, this is kind of the standard jack-of-all-trades that we use a lot. We do change it up some depending on the situation. But in our lieutenant tier, we have 2 points into hull and shield capacity, 1 point into shield and hull restoration each. We've maxed out our energy weapon training. We've also got 2 points into improved EPS flow, 1 point into impulse expertise. We've picked up 2 points into control and drain expertise each. We also have 3 points into advanced targeting expertise. This is going to offset the accuracy penalty a little bit for firing modes like Thaw and Cannon Scatter Volley. We also have 3 points into advanced defensive maneuvering. This is going to make the ship harder to hit. We also have all 3 points into our hull plating. This is free defensive value just by having those on the skill build. 2 points into improved shield hardness. This increases damage reduction to the shields. We also have weapon amplification and specialization, 3 points into each of those, for free critical chance and free critical severity. Now, since you are a Romulan, you're going to have lower power compared to KDF or even Feds, so you're going to want to pick up some extra power. In this case, we have a point into defensive and offensive subsystem tuning each, We also picked up 1 additional point into weapons performance specifically, to give a bit of extra power to the weapons. We have 2 points into EPG, 3 points into long-range target sensors. This decreases the weapon drop-off penalty that you have for being farther away from the enemy. Then you have your choice of hull penetration or shield penetration. There is no right or wrong answer when building a ship to this. You can make arguments for either one. In this case, we're actually going to specifically recommend hull pen to go along with the Nausicaan bonus, as well as the other bits of hull pen that we already have. And that's just going to make that even deadlier for our disruptors. And for our final 2 points, we have a coin.
A coint?
I don't know where that come from. I must have coins on the brain or something, but have a point into warp core potential and a point into warp core efficiency. Everything. This is going to give us some extra power, especially at the lower power levels, which is going to be great as a Romulan player. For our specializations, we have Intelligence Primary. That's going to give us some nice defensive buffs, especially since the ship does have an intel seat on the vessel. Now, we have Strategist as a secondary. If you find yourself in a situation to where you're going to need the extra survival, then definitely stick with Strategist. If you find that you're okay in the survival department, then you could probably switch over to something such as Temporal Operative as a secondary. That is something we had kind of kicked around a little bit when we were building the ship, and something that we felt did warrant a mention at the very least. But going over to our traits, take a quick look at these, and then the actual skills on the ship itself. We have Accurate to further offset our penalty for things like fall and scatter volley and everything. Then we have our Beam Training, increases damage to our beam weapons, or from our beam weapons. That's the free trait that they give you. Then you have Beam Barrage as our R&D crafting trait. We always like to assume that you've leveled at least 1 crafting school up with your character. In this case, we chose Beam R&D crafting for this particular build. Then we also have the Elusive trait, which will make our ship harder to hit, which is free defensive value. We also have our Fleet Coordinator for free damage based on how many people you have in your party. It's 2% based on how many are in the group, counting yourself. So you'll always have a free 2% boost there. Now here we have the career-specific trait. This is Grace Under Fire for engineers, because that's what the builder defaults to, is an engineering character. If you are not an engineer and you still want to use the build, then simply swap in your own career-specific trait. Since this is a Romulan character, we've also slotted the Romulan Operative, which increases our critical hit chance and critical severity and decreases the cooldown of cloaking powers. We also have our Nanite Repair Matrix, which is from the Midnight Mission, a nice little hull heal whenever we drop below 50%, once every 90 seconds. Then we have our House Peg trait, the Point Blank Shot, which increases energy weapon damage the closer we are to a target, to a specific maximum. For our Starship traits, we have the Best Defense. Our attack patterns grant a hull healing buff along with the normal effects. Then, this is one of the Big Daddy traits and everything that is going to be a staple on quite a few builds, especially since you have your Morrigu now. And this is the Energy Weapon Cycle. And this is the trait that actually comes with the ship. Activating emergency power to weapons will provide a reduction in weapon power cost and grant a boost to weapon firing speed for the duration of emergency power to weapons. So, not only does it make your weapons cheaper to fire, it also increases their haste, meaning more hits and, of course, more damage.
The thing to remember with this trait, if you slot 2 emergency power to weapon abilities, it will be up full time. Yeah.
Yep. And there's actually some other stuff that we've considered pairing this with, and I'll touch base on that once I finish describing the traits. But something we do want to make people aware of as to why we were kicking around the Resonance set a good bit as well. We have the Unconventional Tactics. This is also from the Strategist and everything. Activating Brace for Impact increases your damage for a short period of time. And that's in addition to its normal effects, of course. Then we have Improved Predictive Algorithms from Intel. This is an accuracy buff to further offset that accuracy penalty to things like Thaw and Scatter Volley. For our space reputations, we have Chronocapacitor Array in this case. This is going to give us a bit of Bridge Officer cooldown reduction. We also have Advanced Targeting Systems for Free Severity. Aux Power Offensive, which is going to be a boost to damage based on our Aux Power. And we also have Precision for free critical hit chance. Then, for our active reputations, we have Anti-Time Entanglement Singularity. This is a nice little AoE kick in the pants to the enemy that slows them down, dealing damage to them. We also have Biomolecular Shield Generator. This is the little green ball-looking thing you see people use in ISA and elsewhere. Whenever you poof this up, it regenerates the shields of you and any allies that are within it, as well as granting a Psi-Team type effect when you first enter the bubble. And you also have Deploy Sensor Interference Platform. This is a nice little oh crap I'm about to die thing, at least the way we use it anyway. Whenever you poof this up, it'll spawn a little sensor platform that will taunt enemies toward itself for as long as it's active or until it's destroyed, whatever happens first. And it will also do a feedback pulse to deal damage to the enemies. So, a nice little thing that lets you get out of dodge and maybe throw a heal or distract enemies long enough to accomplish an objective, whatever it is you need to do. Finally, we have our Quantum Singularity Manipulation. This increases all science stats by 100 for a short time, as well as granting a temporary cloaking effect. Now, we always like to throw some of our exotic buffs first, follow with Quantum Singularity Manipulation, then maybe crack off a Gravity Well, and fire off our Anti-Time Entanglement Singularity. That way you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck in that case. But going back to our emergency weapon cycle really quickly, because this is something we did want people to be aware of, since you have access to the trait, is because it grants a haste bonus. We had considered the 3-piece resonance set as well to go along with this and stack the haste even further. But it basically comes down to, what are you going to value more? Are you going to value the additional haste more, or are you going to value the static disruptor boost and the hull penetration even more? So you can make arguments for either one there. Finally, we have our Bridge Officer seats, and for this particular ship, you get a Lieutenant Commander Universal / Intel, a Commander Tactical, Lieutenant Tactical, Lieutenant Commander Engineer, and Ensign Science. Now, for this particular ship, we chose to slot the Universal as a Science seat. We have our Science Team 1 in this case. This recharges the shields a little bit, as well as purging certain debuffs like a subnucleonic-based effect. Then we have our Override Subsystem Safeties 2 from Intel. This is going to give us a nice power boost and allow us to access some of that overcapped power while this is active. Do be aware that it will knock a subsystem of yours offline at random for a couple of seconds whenever the effect is completed. Then we have our Gravity Well 1 as a nice little control power for the enemies. This is also a zero distance power, so you're going to be throwing around a lot of threat as soon as you fire that Gravity Well. So do be aware of that.
Going back to the Override Subsystem Safeties, the reason you'll find out we have Engineering Team later, that is partly to counteract the subsystem offline given to us by Override Subsystem Safeties.
Indeed. But anyways, for our Commander Tactical, everything, we have a Tactical Team 1. This will redirect our shield facings automatically while it's active, purges certain tactical debuffs such as boarding parties, as well as some other nice little buffs. Then we have 2 copies of Fall in this case. We have a Fall 2 and a Fall 3. This will allow us to smack anything in range with our beams, pretty much. And we doubled up in this case to allow us to use it more often in this instance. Then, for our final ability, we have our Attack Pattern Beta 3. This is going to allow us to access a lot higher debuff to the enemy than the standard Beta 1 will do. But for our Lieutenant Tactical, this is where we threw our torpedo-based powers to take advantage of our energy torpedo. We have a High Yield 1 and a Spread 2. It's going to allow us to fire it in the different modes. Then for our Lieutenant Commander Engineering, we have Engineering Team 1. This is going to, in some instances, reset the offline effect from the override subsystems, as Kirby touched base on. It also gives us a bit of hull healing whenever we use it, so a nice chunk of our hull back. It also purges certain engineering debuffs, such as the Viral Matrix, that the Iconians love to throw around. And we also have our Reverse Shield Polarity. This recharges our shields in a pinch. We also have Emergency Power to Weapons 3. This gives us a nice bit of power to our weapons, a nice boost to our weapon damage, and also allows us to cheese our Emergency Weapon Cycle trait. Then we also have, finally, our Hazard Emitters 1. This will purge certain things like the Borg Plasma Fires, as well as giving a nice heal over time effect. But, yeah, hopefully you guys can kind of see what we're going for here. Overall, this was... we only spent 1.25 million, and that was to pick up the Crafted Omni. We spent 15,000 dilithium to get the assimilated module. So you're looking at only about 2 days build time for the ship itself. That's of course assuming only a single character is refining dilithium in a day. So, yeah,
well, as we said, this is one of our more evil builds.
And for cheap. Here.
Yeah.
That doesn't look pretty.
Yep.
A lot of damage potential there.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely feel for whoever's on the receiving end of this. But, so like I say, you've got quite a bit of potential with the ship and everything. Like we were saying earlier, definitely maybe play around with the 3 set bonuses from the Nausicaan, even the Martok, and the Resonant set. Figure out which one is best for you. We thought we would get the most bang for our buck out of the Nausicaan, but maybe you'll find for you get more out of the Resonant, or something. But point being, you have options, and before I forget, I'm actually going to update this, and the link is now updated for whenever I put it in the notes later. But, anyways, as far as bugs go, I'm sure a few of these screwballs probably have something they're going to hit me with, so let's have it.
Oh, actually I don't.
I don't know if it's really a bug, it's more like just a visual thing that's been bugging me. I've been playing around with the rifles from the colony holding, and every time I look down the sight, my character actually is pushing it's not holding it correctly, so the rifle's actually implanted inside the person's face. Let's see if I can get out on the camera.
Yeah, might consider that an issue. I mean, though you're kind of a hologram, so I mean there is that. Let's see if we can see
Look
this.
at that.
See that a little bit. Yeah, pretty sure that's not supposed to happen. And screenshot. So, yeah. But that is one interesting little bug. As far as some of the others, guys, there are some things that we had been working on that I can't really give too many details because of what they deal with, for obvious reasons. I know that does seem kind of like a cop-out whenever I do that,
reason,
but
sure.
whenever it makes it to the patch notes, then I can talk about it. But once again, because I know some people had been talking about this and everything, as far as people that had issues with their monthly Zen stipend, either as a gold member or a lifetime member, there was a fix that was supposed to be on the way for that. I don't know if it's already been applied or not, but just be aware if you're having issues, feel free to let them know. Put in a ticket to customer service, whatnot, and they'll get it taken care of.
I know I got mine a few days early this month, because I normally get it on the 5th, and I've already gotten it. So...
So, yeah, that is one thing I did want to mention. But, anyways, moving along to our next segment of the evening, we have Teacher's
this
Corner.
week
And what have you got
I
for us
decided
this
to
week?
focus on the Supremacy ship trait. So this comes with the Astica from the Lobi store, and so I go into what it's all about and why it's something you might want to consider. Yeah. Questions, comments?
See?
To be honest, I didn't even think about it until the video. I was like, supremacy, this sounds familiar. Oh, it's that one! I should get that.
Yeah, it's one of those that it was really popular when it first came out, and then it kind of fizzled a bit. And I mean, it's still around, and some people have used it over plasmonic leech. But now with plasmonic leech being capped at 7.5 power per subsystem, it's kind of becoming a bit more important. If you're looking for something to add to or replace the leech.
But definitely glad to see that get some attention. It is a trait that I see a lot of people overlook and they forget about as far as if they're having power issues and that sort of thing. But we'll have a link to Teacher's video in the notes for you guys so you people can check that out and whatnot. It's very informative. But coming up on our final segment of the evening, we have the RP Corner with Artie. What have you got for us this week?
Well, it's a little different from what I usually do. For this go-around, I'm going to be talking about some of the starships that we have in the game. Mostly from an in-character standpoint. Someone that's in the 25th century. Someone that's looking at the ships that have gone through battle and all that through the past few centuries. It's like, yeah, why are we still using them? So this is the...
Yeah, you've got a lot of
Nasty
static.
from your end,
Oh,
dude.
1 second.
And Artie's going to go fix his transmission. I was going to say, I do love the title
we'll give him
of his bit this
do
week.
that.
Ships of the Fleet. The garbage will do.
Oh yeah.
How about now?
Much better.
Okay. Now I just gotta make sure I don't touch the
Yeah, much
microphone. Okay, but yeah, the garbage will do. To a point. Alright? So, we're in the very early 25th century. We have ships from the 22nd century. We have a few ships from a lot of ships from the 23rd century, actually. Both early and late. And, more recent, we got stuff from the mid to late 24th century still in service. Well, from an engineer in Starfleet in this day and age would look at this and go, why do we have these rust buckets still in the fleet? Why are they walking around? Why are they flying around with some ancient tech at this point? Well, those ships may still look good, but I'm going to give you a reason why you should upgrade. Alright, for my first off, I'm going to go a little bit by era. So, I'm going to talk about the Columbia class, Light Escort, which is the NX refit, for the people that don't realize what that is. So, that was about Enterprise era, mid-22nd century, I believe. And don't get me wrong, I'm not using, in-game, stats or anything. It is a good ship in-game, but if you look at it, that ship's a couple centuries old. Even if you take it apart and upgrade it with all the newest stuff, it's still technically pretty small compared to, like, if you're going toe-to-toe with a Negvar or something, or Iconians. Yeah, you come in puttering with your little NX, and someone's going to look at it and going, huh, he brought a museum ship to fight me. Ha! Then again, endgame, you could totally wipe someone with the NX refit. If you think about it, it's just very old. So, moving on.
Unless you're Cisco, because, I mean, we saw what he did
True,
with that Negvar
very
when he
true,
took over.
but that
Just
wasn't
saying.
an NX. Alright, going to a little bit into the TOS era, I'm going to talk about the Atlas-class prototype Dreadnought cruiser. It was more or less early TOS, technically, and, yeah, it may have good phasers here and there, an actual strong build and whatnot. We do see it that it would technically be mothballed and then refitted to a better class that we actually have in the 25th century. The command cruisers, the Concorde, Presidio, and the Geneva. It's more or less the same whole structure, much larger, of course, but it is the 25th century style of what the Atlas would have been in that. So why keep going with the TOS version? Maybe it has better speed, better turn rate. Yeah. Still using ancient tech, are we? But I digress. Getting more into the closer stuff, this is one of the ones that you actually see a little more progression, and you can see the engineering's mindset with it. The Miranda class, alright? The light cruiser. You start out with it even in the intro of the Starfleet characters. They even yeah, we got this little rust bucket. It's a small training vessel. Why are we using this? We should be using the Vesta over there. That looks like a glorious ship. But no, you got the Miranda. It came out 23rd century, mid more or less. But you have it as a light cruiser. It's good mid-range ship for its time. Then its technical upgrade from that would have been the Centaur. Even though it's not the same class of ship, it was supposed to replace that role of a light cruiser. More of anti-fighter or anti-small craft, whatever, but still was an upgrade. Then again, if you look into what we have for Star Trek, they had an even better upgrade. They had the I can't pronounce it all of a sudden. It's the Shikar. It's some Vulcan mountain. That's all I got. Yeah.
Shikar.
But no, that was its early 25th century version of it, and you're like, yeah, that would be a good, stronger version of what my Miranda would have looked like. Yeah. And then obviously the Iconian War hit, everything got totaled, and you're just like, yeah, we need a better ship. So the Reliant class, you can see this is top of the line. It matches all the other current ships with its new sleeker hull, faster turn rate, and it definitely is a definite upgrade from the Miranda. It's just literally the same job, the same position in a fleet formation, the same armament. Well, not same armament, it's just upgraded. But it literally is what a Miranda would be in the 25th century. So there's your upgrade. So why keep the Miranda when your upgrade's already there and better? There you go. And this last one, I had some discussion from quite a few different RPers from different points on it. The Akira, originally made for the Borg, fight the Borg, blow them up from afar, whatever. It was original role was a heavy escort, kind of mixed into being a escort carrier when the Dominion War hit. So, yeah, you could see that it was supposed to be a big, heavy-hitting ship. Well, funny enough, in 2409, early 25th century, whatever, it's still going around as a big heavy hitter. So why have an upgrade for it? It was still being so, it was such a strong class that an upgrade for it would just look like, you know, we just have to not smudge the hull plating, make it a little lighter hull plating. That's it, yeah. And so that's basically what they did with the Thunder Child. They just took it apart, gave it a newer hull, and left everything the same. And then I was like, yeah, we like that. That's a good ship. It's not what we're looking for, though. So they upgraded the hangar bays, made the hull a little bit stronger, gave more point defense, as you see with the consoles, the point defense, phaser, turrets, as well as the torpedo system, and made the Armitage class, which I will say, in an RPR aspect, looking at the progression of the ship, it is definitely the better upgrade compared. It has, in the wiki and whatnot, it has the better tech, the shield systems have been upgraded with modern tech, and whatnot. It's literally, it's like how the Miranda was. It's perfect upgrade from it. And then I got wiped the floor with the Iconian War. It seems like the Iconians just don't like all of our older ships for some reason. We always need to upgrade it as them as the standard for, as the newest enemy, right? And we did. We made the Alita. I can't pronounce that again. It's the Alita class, right? All right. So you need something to go toe to toe with the Herald ships, and maybe point a giant torpedo system at an Iconian on the planet just in giggles. So that was a good heavy escort carrier to mix in. So as you can see, there is the engineering's perspective of it is upgrading, but why still have the older stuff when the newer stuff is literally its upgrade? And even with the newer ship, it had its newer consoles and newer systems. Like in the Alita, you have the destabilized tachyon emitters. That's meant to take down enemy shields without any real issue. So it actually does mix in with the old Akira's role as a heavy hitter and strong vessel, and still being able to pick a fight toe-to-toe with larger enemies, even if it's battleship or dreadnought class size to this heavy cruiser. Now, don't get me wrong, I know someone's going to start running to the comment section and go, oh my goodness, you're just hating on the 23rd century ships. No, 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 I love the 23rd century ships. Just looking at it from the 25th century, you're just really wondering why we still have mothballed ships in the fleet, is all it is. We have the advanced technology, better shields, whatnot, and yes, you can upgrade those systems, but have you ever tried to run a computer from 1998 with Windows 7? It doesn't work. So, there you go.
Yeah, definitely an interesting way of looking at
Yes,
things,
it
I
is.
suppose. So, but anyways, we will have Artie stuff in the notes for you guys. Whatnot, if you've got ideas for him, please let him know, because he does take requests, as pretty much all of us do, actually, for stuff you'd like to see on the show. Whatnot, that's pretty much what we have this evening for you guys. Everything, if you've got a request for a budget build, anything you'd like to see us do, feel free to let us know. We do take requests, as well as just something we try to BS on the spot, such as this. But, you know, let us know what budget level you're at. Let us know if, you know, you've just got a bare bones budget. Let us know if you've got something more mid-range, or even if you want to go with something a bit more high-end. And let us know, you know, hey, I want to be a space wizard, hey, I want to never die as a tank, or I want to be a support, whatever it is you're looking to do, and we'll help you out. If you feel like your gear and your ship are in order, but you feel maybe if I just could get a little bit more out of my piloting, or if I could just figure out how to get this position a little bit better, then I could get some more out of my build. You know, shoot a little video clip of your piloting in an ISA or something. Feel free to submit that on our website, and we'll help you out. Just let us know what you're looking to do, and we'll get you squared away there. Everything, if you've got bugs or anything like that to report, feel free to let me know in-game. Whatnot, just say, you know, hey, I'm reporting this bug to you and whatnot, feel free to let one of these guys know. They'll pass it along to me. I'll pass it along to the devs, make sure that they see it. Whatnot. If you can't get a hold of one of us, go on to the forums, either for PC, for the Xbox One, or PS4, whatever your forum is, and whatever your platform is, and just say, hey, I'm seeing this bug. List as much information as you can. If you've got a step-by-step how to reproduce it, that's great. If you've got screenshots and video, that's even better. But if you've got requests for Teacher's Corner, maybe there's a specific something you want to see her go over. Maybe you don't really understand where to get this particular piece of gear or this particular duty officer, whatever it is, let her know, and she'll do a video over your stuff. If you've got ideas for the RP Corner, let Artie know and everything, but it's pretty much what we've got for this. Also, a shout out to our good friends over at the Temporal Armada. Definitely check out their radio program, whatnot. Very cool bunch of folks and everything. You'll enjoy their program. Also, a good shout out to our friends over at the Kurtang Pirate Radio. Very cool bunch of folks. You'll enjoy their radio program as well. Definitely check them out and whatnot. But anyways, folks, that's what we have for this week and everything. Also, planning to, or getting some stuff worked out, so hopefully we can make it out to Vegas and everything this next year. Or this,
Yes,
this coming August, I think, is when it's going to be. So, yeah, that's going to be coming up pretty soon and whatnot, guys. So, if you'd like to see us out there, then feel free to support us, either by donating maybe a little bit of cash, or just spreading the word, whatnot. Any little thing helps. We are grateful for any and all help that we get. So without you guys, we wouldn't have a show. It would just be four random nerds talking on the internet.
But
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there is that too, but But, anyways, guys, this is the Pilot Review Show, and
See ya.
we're warping on out of here.